This is a tender. It's on the TED Tenders Electronic Daily, which is the EU website. It's been placed by the MHRA. It's called United Kingdom London Software Package and Information Systems Contract Award Notice. Well, this is what it says. It says the MHRA urgently seeks an artificial intelligence software tool to process the expected high volume of COVID-19 vaccine adverse drug reactions and ensure that no details from ADR's reaction text are missed. It goes on further down the tender document to say, for reasons of extreme urgency under Regulation 32(2)(c), related to the release of a COVID-19 vaccine, MHRA have accelerated the sourcing and implementation of a vaccine-specific AI tool. And it says strictly necessary. So this is the justification for doing it in the way that they're doing, because it is strictly necessary. They're breaking the rules for the EU, basically, with this tender, so they've got to justify that. They're saying it's strictly necessary. It's not possible to retrofit the MHRA's legacy systems to handle the volume of ADRs that will be generated by a COVID-19 vaccine. Therefore, if the MHRA does not implement the AI tool, it will be unable to process these ADRs effectively. So, what's this about? Well, the MHRA, of course, is the Medicines and Health Products Regulatory Authority. It is the regulator for medications in the UK. What they seem to be saying in this tender document is that they expect a large amount, a large volume of people that have an adverse reaction to the forthcoming COVID-19 vaccines. They want to be able to track that and they want to be able to report on it. But the question is why they would be allowing this to happen in the first place. And if we assume that all the indications from the mainstream press so far are that the first batch of vaccines will be going to health workers first and the elderly in care homes, well, surely we don't want adverse reactions in health workers, because if they aren't doing their jobs, then we're not getting any health care. And well, we've already seen from the first lockdown the number of elderly that died as a result of withdrawal of medication, but perhaps this time where it looks like we're going to be expecting adverse reactions in elderly people, well, that is very likely, is it not, to put them over the edge?
I'm going to use the word absolutely, Mike. It is absolutely going to do that. And if we go to the data which is readily available on vaccines and the dangers of vaccines, you're talking about people dying straight away from a vaccine, or people who have disability for life as a result of vaccine damage. And here's MHRA. This is the same organisation that banned GC-MAF as having any ability to help people with cancer. And they're saying they're not really interested in stopping the damage to people. They just want to make sure that they can collect the data.
Well, I don't know that we can say that quite yet, because we're waiting for a statement from them. So we need to see what they actually say. But these are the questions, or at least some of the questions that I'm suggesting we ask here. First of all, why is this being advertised at an EU level? And I'm asking this question because is it because they don't want to advertise it in the UK? They don't want to draw attention to this tender in the UK. I've asked, is it also being advertised in the UK? Asking what impact the end of the transition period will have on the contract, if any. And I'm also asking what is meant by the expected high volume of COVID vaccine adverse drug reactions. What kind of volume is the MHRA expecting? Now, it seems I'm struggling to find any other explanation than what it says in the words. Brian, I can't really see that those words can mean anything other than they imply
an expected high volume. So we know that they're expecting damage. And what are we talking about? I'm going to repeat it. We're talking about people dying directly as a result of the vaccine. Maybe they're elderly, ill, and particularly vulnerable. But we know that vaccines across the board have caused a number of deaths and/or long-term disability, including in very young people. But we're not worried about that as long as, I'm going to say this, you're correcting me, we're not worried about the damage, the physical damage to people. We just need to make sure that we've collected the data so that the pharmaceutical companies can benefit, presumably.
I'm not saying I disagree with you, mind you. But anyway, look, it gets even better because, of course, Pfizer is the company which is apparently first off the blocks, out of the blocks to provide a vaccine. Well, everybody will be glad to know that the chief executive on the news that on the same day that they announced that the vaccine was available and their stock price went through the roof, I think it went up 8% or something in a day, he sold $5.6 million in stock on the same day. So this is Albert Bourla, and this is the same day, as I say, that this vaccine showed what they claim to be a 90% effectiveness, and therefore the stock price went up. Now, the key point here is, of course, the MHRA is going to be recording all the adverse reactions, but Pfizer is sitting pretty, aren't they? Because they are not going to be prosecuted in any way should there be adverse reactions, because they've had immunity, as have all the large pharmaceutical companies in this. So he, on the other hand, looks like he's sort of checking out a little bit here, just in case it all goes pear-shaped. I speculate.
I'm not any form of expert, Mike, in financial matters, but I believe that if you work somewhere where you have advanced knowledge of what is going to happen to affect the share price, and you act on that with that foresight, that is known as insider dealing.
Well, for you or I, it may well be,
right.
But for him, it's not. And the financial press is saying that what he has done is not illegal.
Right.
So special rules for special people.
Special rules for special people. Well, those drug companies obviously rubbing their hands with glee at billions of pounds of profit as the public are vaccinated as a result of a pandemic, which I think we're very happy now to say doesn't exist. But of course, what are we doing? We're flooding the general public at the moment with phone calls. I received a phone call yesterday afternoon from my GP surgery inviting me to come for a flu jab. I asked the young lady if she knew the dangers. She clearly had no idea. I asked her if she knew what was in the vaccine she was offering. She had no idea. I suggested that she might do some research as to the dangers of vaccines, and she said, oh, well, don't worry, because Public Health England has approved it and it's safe. And she then added that she had had the flu jab, so I suggested that she went away and read some of the material about people who died or been seriously injured. It went very quiet on the phone, but I declined the offer.